How could I have known? In just over a decade, I could be annoying one of my dearest friends by constantly insisting that they watch Gilmore Girls. On October 5th, 2000, in a pre-9/11 world, what was then known as the WB brought us a series that would eventually spark an entire season of rewatching every single year. In a cozy town tucked away in the fake part of Connecticut, we were introduced to LORELAI and RORY Gilmore, and the ragtag cast of stone-cold weirdos that mostly exists to adore them in what would be the first season of 7 seasons and later a revival of Gilmore Girls. Hey, wait. Before we get into the Gilmore goodness, I want to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Ren. Have you been thinking a lot about your impact on the world? Maybe about how much your day-to-day lifestyle affects the environment? Have you gotten lost in thought on the subway about the rate at which we're all depleting the world's resources? So much so that you eventually missed your stop? Well, I've got news for you, my avid recycler. Ren is a terrific way to help you personally make a difference in the climate crisis. Ren is a super user-friendly website that allows you to calculate your carbon footprint. And not only that, you can calculate your carbon footprint and then do something about it. Because as human beings, our carbon footprint is never going to be a zero. But with Ren, you can help offset your carbon footprint. Reducing our own carbon footprints is the best way to save our planet and make a dent in the climate crisis. So when you go to ren.co, you just complete a quick survey. They calculate your carbon footprint based on your lifestyle and how it's treating our big, beautiful planet, and you're on your way to helping create a solution instead of just being part of the problem. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And for real, the climate crisis is genuinely a very real and a very scary issue that sits at all of our collective doorstep. And if you're someone like me with little kiddos who have to live in the future that we leave for them, not to sound all Sally Struthers, but it really can't wait another day. And there's all kinds of options to get involved. I personally have taken an interest in the tech-enabled rainforest protection, which is used to help prevent deforestation and to protect indigenous lands, all literally using an app. Technology, am I right? But like I said, there's all kinds of options on getting involved. On top of that, I'm personally trying to reduce my carbon footprint by switching back to a vegan diet. Many models have shown that factory farming is one of the leading causes of pollution, and factory farming is something that's pretty hard to escape in this day, age, and country that at least I live in. But it will take everyone's help to end the climate crisis. You can start helping today by going to ren.co, that's WREN.co, taking your survey and working to reduce your carbon footprint. And to top it all off, the first 100 people who sign up using my link in the description below will have 10 extra trees planted in their name. 10. That's 10 trees. That's like more than 9. Please, by all means, check out the links in the description, and thank you so much to Ren for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get right into it. Today is going to be the first of an 8-part series as we break down every season, the revival included, of everybody's favorite fall activity, taking stupid photos in front of some hay with matching flannel.
Gilmore Girls.
Welcome back to my channel, and if it's your first time here, don't worry, it happens to lots of guys. I decided to only light half of my set today. And by decided, I mean I can't quite get the lighting right over here because I don't have all my lighting equipment here. Anyway, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Fat Sajak, and I'll be your host today, whether you like it or not. And make sure you like and subscribe, because this is the choice I made with my hair today. And by choice, I mean I let it dry naturally, and I regretted the day I ever said,
"Hey, bangs would be a good idea."
This is who we are today. Now let's get into it, shall we? So a while back I felt this wave of inspiration while I was on my 70th cup of coffee for the day. And I realized that I haven't done a Gilmore Girls rewatch for a few years. And I thought at first I wanted to make like the full video analysis about Rory Gilmore and why everyone says she's the worst and why I don't necessarily think that's true. And I will get to those thoughts at some point during the series, probably towards the end of the series. So I started taking notes on my Rory thoughts, and I realized it would be way more fun to just like break this down as a whole than just specifically doing one analysis on Rory. So that's what we're gonna do, season by season, as voted on by all y'all in my community tab. I had a hard time putting this together because for whatever reason, chronology is not my friend today. Chronology? Is that the right word? I feel like it's the right word. I'm going with chronology. So if you've been around the channel for a minute, you know that there is a running gag with my friend Nayli, who I do a podcast with. That's my answer. I'll fight Dina Lohan. I'll fight her anywhere. I don't even have to be at a bar. I'm just going to fight Dina Lohan.
I want to be some old gay man's teacup Yorkie. That's my goal.
Same. What would your name be?
Oh, Liza.
Which is coming back very soon for its second season, so the link for that's in the description. Go subscribe over there so you can know when that foolishness is happening. But we have a running gag because I once suggested that Gilmore Girls was like an entire seasonal thing. Like, I believe the phrase that I used was best viewed in the fall, which I feel like most Gilmore Girl fans would agree. And if you do, leave it in the comments, because I just want to show up Nayli, and that's honestly on the top of my priority list. She thought it was really fucking funny that Autumn was like this catalyst for a Gilmore Girls rewatch, or that it's the best time of the year to watch Gilmore Girls. But that's primarily because she's never seen it. And to be honest, I'm not sure how watching Gilmore Girls the first time, like as an adult in 2022, would really like translate. Because, like, I watched it when it was on, like a regular person. Because obviously there are elements from any show from, you know, late 90s or 2000s, early 2000s, that just don't hold up anymore. And there's a lot of things in Gilmore Girls that don't hold up. And maybe I'll make, like, a bonus video of things like that. But I don't want to harp on those too much in these episodes. So, that being said, disclaimer, there are going to be spoilers in these videos, lots of them. I'm not really gonna hold back or like skirt around details. I'm gonna try my best to not jump. I'm gonna try my best to not like jump super far ahead, if I can help it, just because I like chronology. Is that the word I'm looking for? It took me to Wordle. What the fuck? Yeah, okay, chronology. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Because I feel like it messes with chronology a little bit. Maybe like later in the seasons as we tackle them, maybe we'll jump around a little more and I can kind of give thoughts where I have them. But like I said, there's gonna be spoilers for each season in each analysis. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to ruin it for yourself, go back and watch it and then come back, or don't. You do whatever you gotta do. The show's been out for like 22 years, so like make the time or don't. I also want to make the disclaimer that all the opinions in this video are just opinions. I know Gilmore Girl fans get pretty feisty over some of the opinions on characters and details, and I would encourage you all to be kind in the comments, not just to me, but to other people especially. And I encourage healthy banter about what you disagree with, okay? I encourage the disagree bit, okay? Obviously today, we are going to be looking at season 1, which is, in my opinion, the best and the coziest season of Gilmore Girls. Insert your hate comments here. But since this is our first video, we're also going to do a little bit of backstory and context and familiarize everyone with most things. I may skip around on some characters and plot points in this season, but that's my fucking prerogative, okay? Anyway, let's get to it. Gilmore Girls. a show created by Amy Sherman Palladino and Dan Palladino, is a story about Lorelai Gilmore, a single mother to her daughter, Lorelai Gilmore, aka Rory Gilmore. And Lorelai is a single mom raising Rory on her own in the majestic and fictitious town of Stars Hollow, Connecticut. Lorelai is a spunky, witty, quirky, generally very well-liked person in the town who runs the Independence Inn. She left her parents' home and wealth and help when she was 16 and had Rory. Now, the town of Stars Hollow in and of itself is kind of its own character. It's a small town where everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everything about everybody. It's wholesome and cozy and often weird with a ton of traditions. It's a great, ideal place even to raise your almost annoyingly intelligent 16-year-old daughter.
Crazy people. Whole town should be medicated and put in a rec room with ping pong tables and hand puppets.
All the characters of the town have their own particular quirks, and we're going to get into some of them today, maybe not all of them. Hey, don't panic. We'll have plenty to say next time. When we first meet Lorelai, like I said, she's a 32-year-old single mom who's an only child who escaped her life of privilege, living with her parents. And when I say privilege, I mean a very, very wealthy family with a very prestigious name. Debutante balls, fancy events, the whole nine. And Lorelai was unrelentingly rebellious against her upbringing, always saying she felt suffocated by the life her parents insisted was for her. They insisted that when Lorelai got pregnant with Rory, which was already kind of a disgrace to their family name, that she immediately marry Christopher, who is Rory's dad. And while Christopher was on board with that, Lorelai was not. So Lorelai runs away after the birth of her daughter and finds solace in the town of Stars Hollow. She's taken in by a woman named Mia, who runs the Independence Inn, makes her a maid. Eventually, Lorelai works her way up to the manager of the Independence Inn. And she's quite beloved within the confines of her small town. She's witty and charismatic, if not stubborn and selfish, but always selfless when it comes to Rory. When we first meet Rory, she is a 16-year-old, well, technically she's a 15-year-old because we have her birthday in the first few episodes.
In honor of this very special girl, I now invite you all to help me eat her face.
And you may have the first one. There's something very strange about hacking into my own head.
But, that's, when you're close enough to an age and you're like, yeah, you're like 17 and you're like, yeah, what's up? I'm 25. It's kind of like that. She's a smart and studious girl, quiet, sweet, more of the mother and the mother-daughter dynamic. And Rory's best friend is Lane Kim, who is the daughter of Mrs. Kim, who has no first name, and of Mr. Kim, who just disappears suddenly. And Mrs. Kim is a God-fearing woman, to say the least. Lane's upbringing is far more strict than Rory's, and Lorelai kind of takes Lane in when she can to offer like a slice of fun and like a slice of sanity and like a slice of pizza now and then. That was cheesy. There are some parallels with Lane and her rebellion and Lorelai and her rebellion. But only one of them ended up with the cost of childcare at 16. Am I right, ladies? Am I right, ladies? What the hell was that? Season 1 opens on Lorelai begging Luke, the owner of the local diner, for coffee.
How many cups have you had this morning?
None.
Plus?
5, but yours is better.
You have a problem.
Yes, I do.
Which would be the catalyst for many jokes and a large chunk of Lorelai's exquisite personality. Luke, we'll get more into Luke down the line. Luke is like the disgruntled town grumpy ass with a heart of gold. And coffee, which I'll talk about in a little bit, will be a whole personality for these two. And I should let you know right out of the gate that I am a full-on Lorelai apologist. I may not always agree with her, but through her many faults, I still think she is one of the best and most well-rounded characters of the entire series. As she should be, considering she's kind of the focal point. Anyhow, Lorelai's daughter shows up at Luke's diner and meets her for coffee.
Hey, it's freezing. Oh, what do you need? Hot tea? Coffee?
Lip gloss.
Aha. I have vanilla chocolate strawberry and toasted marshmallow.
Anything in there not resembling a breakfast cereal?
Yes. It has no smell, but it changes colors with your mood.
God, RuPaul doesn't need this much makeup.
I will get you some coffee.
When Lorelai steps away for a moment to get her said coffee, Rory's mistaken for someone who's at a former hardware store turned diner just waiting for a date when just simply trying to ingest caffeine. Anyway, this creep.
Yeah, I've never been through it before.
Oh, you have to.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. You really like my table, don't you?
I was just,
Getting to know my daughter.
Are you my new daddy?
Wow. You do not look old enough to have a daughter. No, I mean it. And you do not look like a daughter.
That's possibly very sweet of you.
Even after finding out that she and Lorelai, who had met previously, are mother and daughter.
You know, I am traveling with a friend.
She's 16.
Bye.
Drive safe.
The extra C in Connecticut affecting you in some weird way out there. Anyway, just the same, we LOL into the Law's version of There She Goes Again. And season 1 begins. Now, I call season 1 the cozy season for the purposes of this video. During our pilot, the mother-daughteriness that we come to love throughout the series, their whole dynamic, it isn't quite as friendly as it generally becomes, which says a lot about how different pilots usually are from the rest of their series, if they are in fact picked up. Full House. In the original pilot, Bob Saget wasn't even there.
Come on, Mom. Bags are in the cab. The meter's running.
He sucked. So Rory, who is Stars Hollow's local brainiac, she's accepted mid-year into a pretty prestigious prep school called Chilton.
Look, dear Ms. Gilmore, we are happy to inform you that we have a vacancy at Chilton Preparatory starting immediately. Due to your daughter's excellent credentials and your enthusiastic pursuit of her enrollment, I offered to do the principal to get her in. We would be happy to accept her as soon as the first semester's tuition has been received.
Mom! You're happy.
Yeah.
Did you do something slutty?
I'm not that happy. You did it, babe. You got in.
How did this happen? You didn't with the principal, did you?
No, honey, that was a joke. They have an open spot. You're going to start on Monday.
Really?
Really?
When she finds out and she's clearing out her locker and getting ready to move from Stars Hollow High to Chilton, she meets the only tolerable version of Dean that we see in most of these series.
Are you moving?
No, just my books are.
My family just moved here from Chicago.
Chicago. Windy. Oprah.
Yeah, that's the place. I'm Dean.
Hi. Oh, Rory. Me. That's me.
I don't like Dean, and you're gonna hear all about it, okay? You're gonna hear all about it. I have a lot of opinions about Dean, but they don't really start until next season. I have some for this season, but they're mostly for the seasons to come. So she and Dean hit it off with some musings about cake and Moby Dick and...
So do you like cake?
What?
They make really good cakes here. They're very round.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Good. Make a note. You wouldn't want to forget where the round cakes are.
So, how you liking Moby Dick?
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's my first Melville.
Cool.
You can see the sparks fly.
Last Friday, these two guys were tossing around a ball, and one guy nailed the other right in the face. I mean, it was a mess, blood everywhere. The nurse came out, the place was in chaos. His girlfriend was all freaking out, and you just sat there and read. I mean, you never even looked up. I thought, I've never seen anyone read so intensely before in my entire life. I have to meet that girl.
Maybe I just didn't look up because I'm unbelievably self-centered.
Maybe. But I doubt it.
So did I ask you if you like cake?
Yeah, you did.
Oh. Because they have really good cake back there.
Meanwhile, Lorelai's funding for Chilton is not quite cutting it. Because she's unendingly devoted to her daughter and her daughter's education, she swallows her pride and asks her wealthy parents, Richard and Emily Gilmore, for the money to send Rory to Chilton.
My goodness, this is a surprise. Is it Easter already?
No, I just finished up my business class and I thought I would stop by.
To see me?
Yes.
Well, isn't that nice? Would you like some tea?
I would love some coffee.
Emily, I'm home.
We're in here.
Hi, Dad.
What is it? Christmas already?
Actually, I came here for a reason. Dad, would you mind sitting down for a minute?
You need money.
I have a situation.
You need money.
And thus begins the contract of Friday night dinners. Emily requests that Rory and Lorelai both come to dinner at their home every Friday night because Lorelai left so young and was so fiercely independent, sometimes to a fault. And because of this, Rory only really saw her grandparents on holidays and barely knew them at all. So what a delicious plot device.
Rory has been accepted to Chilton.
Chilton? Oh, that's a wonderful school.
She can start as early as Monday. That they want me to put down an enrollment fee plus the first semester's tuition, and I have to do that immediately or she loses her spot.
So, you need money.
Yeah, it's not for me, it's for Rory. And I fully intend to pay you back every cent. I don't ask for favors, you know that.
Oh, yes, we know.
I'll get the checkbook.
On one condition.
So close.
Since we are now financially involved in your life, I want to be actively involved in your life. I want a weekly dinner.
What?
Friday nights, you and Rory will have dinner here. That's it. That's the condition. If you agree, you come to dinner tomorrow night and leave here with a check. Otherwise, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
Emily is very a high society conservative, president of the DAR, filthy rich, bitter about Lorelai's rebellion. When she gets into Lorelai's life, she starts to sort of meddle and eventually sabotage a little bit. There's a sort of a running gag about Emily firing her maid every week. She's kind of like the ultimate Karen, but she's also a f***ing queen. And we get little peeks of that here and there throughout the series, but it really, 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 really shines in the revival. And I look forward to talking more about Emily Gilmore, and not just Emily Gilmore, but Kelly Bishop's performance as Emily Gilmore in the revival, because it's a lot, and she's a f***ing boss. Richard is more of the stereotypical 50s and 60s dad who really sort of went to work every day and came home and wore a bow tie every day and was sort of not really super involved with his daughter. And he's a businessman, insurance salesman. But the bond that he and Rory eventually come to have is really sweet and lovely. Now, a lot of the fun in Gilmore Girls is how driven it is by pop culture references. It's been wildly mocked, and maybe rightfully so, for its excessive use of both obscure and mainstream pop culture, historical, news, current events, all types of every kind of reference you can come up with. it exists in Gilmore Girls.
You're a regular Jack Kerouac.
RuPaul doesn't need this much makeup.
Look, Officer Krupke.
I lost my Macy Gracie D.
You're gonna have to turn into friggin' Flojo to get away from me.
You're reenacting the little match girl.
Madame Bovary.
Mark Twain. You can pull a Menendez.
Moby Dick.
You're like Ruth Gordon. The Mommy Dearest. Oprah. Eminem.
Stephen King.
Rosemary's Baby.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Harry Potter.
Tolstoy.
Dickens. Ooh, a Dixie chick.
Dostoevsky's.
There is a hunchback up in that bell tower.
George Sand and Balzac.
It'd be all work and no play.
Christiane Amanpour.
Have you not seen The Shining, Mom?
The one thing people also pick up on the most is how quickly the dialogue moves. And this was purposeful on the part of Amy Sherman Palladino because her scripts for each episode were more than twice what an average 60-minute drama would be. And the actors had to stick to the script, no ad-lib, no improv. And if I'm not mistaken, if they wanted to understand a reference, they had to look it up themselves. I just think it's a really fascinating way to run a show, and I think it's really cool. But the dynamic of family is really cheesy, but it's also what drives Gilmore Girls as a whole. Obviously through LORELAI and Rory's relationship, so between Rory's relationship with her grandparents, respectively, and as a unit, and through LORELAI's relationship with her parents, respectively, and as a unit. And in the pilot, LORELAI and Rory have less of that fun friend dynamic and more of the mother-daughter dynamic. Rory tells LORELAI, post Richard and Emily visit, and post fireworks with Dean, that she doesn't want to go to Chilton, which results in a pretty normal mother-daughter altercation.
This is about a boy. Of course. I can't believe I didn't see it. All this talk about money and bus rides. You got a thing going with a guy and you don't want to leave school.
I'm going to bed.
God, I'm so dense. That should have been my first thought. After all, you're me.
I'm not you.
Really? Someone willing to throw important life experiences out the window to be with a guy? It sounds like me to me.
Whatever.
LORELAI actually puts her foot down for like the first of maybe 3 times in the entire series. And it makes sense considering she just sold her soul to her overbearing parents that she worked her whole life to get away from. The mother-daughter dynamic healed when Rory learns that LORELAI had eaten a ton of crow to ask her parents for money, and then ordering chili fries with coffee.
I'll have coffee also. And chili fries.
It's quite a refined palate you got there.
Which brings us to food. Food, much like the town of Stars Hollow, is its own character in Gilmore Girls. I've heard a lot of people kind of admonish the way that they ate, and to that I say, it's fiction. Lighten up. I understand with like beauty and weight standards, like realistically, how vehemently against exercise they were and how much they ate. Yeah, they probably would have been overweight and not too rail thin, like quote-unquote perfect bodied ladies, you know. I understand with the standards the way they are that people guffaw at the idea that these two eating pizza and burgers for dinner every night and massive amounts of junk food just to watch a movie never gain a pound, you know. I get it. I did always enjoy that Rory and LORELAI ate.
Rory and I decided to take on the entire chicken column last night. I can't wait to try the toaster pizza. It looks so gross, which is usually the mark of a great junk food.
Beefaroni.
Enough said. Luke, I need the largest cheeseburger in the world. Let's break a record, mister. Not bad. There. Pop-Tart appetizers to tide you over until the pizza comes.
I can barely walk.
Bad shoes?
I ate a cow.
You had a steak.
Plus the sides. 4 people, 6 baked potatoes.
You boys exaggerate.
Am I exaggerating? Nope.
Ooh, ice cream. Oh, I'm right behind you.
Because like a lot of my connection to Gilmore Girls was the fact that I was raised by a single mother, and we had that sort of like dynamic. And like we ate food, we ate junk food together. I don't know, maybe it's my own personal relatability to it. I love the concept, and this is something that I do with my own kids. I like when we're like, okay, we're gonna have a movie night, let's go get a ton of snacks and pick whatever you want, you know, grab your hands. And I don't know, I just think that that's fun. I think it's a fun way to celebrate like fun with food. I don't know. Maybe that's why I am the way I am. Maybe that's why I have an eating disorder. I think we can all agree that raising a teenager on eating only pizza and burgers and takeout and junk food is bad, but it's also a show. And I'm also pretty sure that Gilmore Girls originated the concept of coffee being a whole ass personality trait.
Here we go. 3 coffees. Oh, I'm sorry, I only ordered 1.
You said coffee, coffee, coffee. No, see, I said coffee, coffee, coffee. Right. As in, I really need coffee, coffee, coffee. You know? No. Coffee, coffee, coffee is a saying, like an exaggeration. It's a funny, desperate cry for caffeine. It's just my thing, because everybody knows I drink a lot of coffee, so the day can't start until I've had my jolt.
Through the rest of season 1, we see Rory start Chilton, immediately faced with an uphill battle of school workloads she's not prepared for, mean classmates, Chad Michael Murray. But her arch nemesis, Paris Geller, is the most notable and one of the characters who has the absolute best development in the entire series. Paris went from like, oh my god, I can't stand that character, to Paris is everything. She's up there with Emily for me. She's the most headstrong, polarizing, complex, hilarious character of the entire show, in my opinion. So she is one of these rich, trust fundy prep school kids who tormented Rory in season 1.
You probably don't even have a date. You're probably going to come down with some very rare form of flu that only hits losers on dance night.
How'd you do? Me too. A small world.
Isn't it? Madeline, what'd you get?
You know I got a B.
A B's not bad.
Oh, not at all.
Respectable, even.
I'd be proud.
A D, however, that would be cause for concern.
Cry for help.
Job application at McDonald's.
Would you like fries with that?
Hey, you know, not everybody can be smart. As my mother always says, somebody has to answer the phones.
Okay, I have no idea what you two are talking about.
No, but Rory does.
They go on to have sort of a tumultuous relationship, but we'll get to that as the seasons progress, of course. And I think the thing that's interesting about Paris is that she and Rory challenge each other, both personally and academically. So eventually Rory and Dean also begin dating, and we'll get to that in a little bit when I'm talking about my favorite episode of the season, which you're gonna want to hear. So LORELAI, who, like I said, works at the Independence Inn, her best friend is Suki, who is the head chef at the Independence Inn, and played by the fabulous Melissa McCarthy.
Hallelujah!
And I gotta be honest, I always found Suki, particularly in season 1, to be annoying.
You're going to Chilton!
And I love Melissa McCarthy, and I eventually grew to love Suki, but she's so flaky in the first season, and she's always getting injured, and I don't know, it's just the frazzled flakiness just bothered me. I don't know. I don't know.
I need you to be more careful.
I know, I'm sorry. Hey, I fixed the peach sauce.
That's blood. You're bleeding. Why are you bleeding?
Oh, my stitches opened. I was using too much maple syrup.
LORELAI begins dating Rory's English teacher, Max Medina.
What in the world?
You okay?
Uh-huh. I'll just sit now.
I don't think we've met.
Oh, I'm LORELAI GILMORE, Rory's mom.
And their dynamic is weird. I always thought, like, when they weren't supposed to be together, when things were, like, rocky, for some reason, their chemistry seemed really good.
LORELAI, it's Max Medina. Max Medina. And once again, we miss each other. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, and I'm in my office grading a paper entitled Emily Dickinson, Get a Life. Anyhow, as I sit here losing my faith in mankind, I wonder if we're ever going to actually go on that date we talked about.
And then, like, when they were, like, allowed to be together, or, you know, they were actually dating proper, everything was weird and, like, stoic and uncomfy, and there's a lot of hair. Max was the first guy that LORELAI let in, emotionally, metaphorically, and physically. Max was very pushy and demanding, but he was also very sweet and well-spoken and poetic. And I don't think LORELAI was fully prepared for how, like, passionate Max is, and by extension kind of controlling as well. In my personal opinion, I feel like it was irresponsible of LORELAI, who made such a big ordeal of starting to date Max because of Rory. I think it was irresponsible of LORELAI to put Rory in that position by dating her teacher.
I wish my mom would sleep with my teacher. It would make midterms a lot easier.
So season 1 is notably pretty cozy. The environment starts in autumn and goes all the way through till school is about to let out in late spring. Aside from the pilot and a little bit of the second episode, the lighting is low, it's warm, the prevalence of season is important in Gilmore Girls. Set decoration is very cozy cottagecore-esque, which is just that's where my home decor lies. It's very mismatched, but not in an obnoxious way. Little bits of tacky elements, little bits of just warm, cozy, rustic elements. There's no like stainless steel. Wardrobe is peak early 2000s with fitted graphic tees, lots of flannels, corduroy, hair clips, some frosty eye makeup here and there even. The music, the la-las, okay? The la-las are very important to Gilmore Girls. The la-las are essentially the score of Gilmore Girls. I don't know why they work, but they do, and I don't know how they made every season's la-las different, but they are different every season. You can tell if you ever fall asleep with the DVDs on, because that's your menu that you wake up to at 3 o'clock in the morning when you can't find a fucking remote to turn something off. There's also the town troubadour, which serves as sort of like a wipe for the scene into a new scene, which sounds more cheesy than it actually is. There are so many like town traditions. They have town meetings.
Daddy's getting angry.
So what makes Gilmore Girls so goddamn cozy? Well, strap in, because I'm about to tell you about my favorite episode, okay? My favorite episode of all time is an episode called Kiss and Tell. It's got every cozy vibe you could possibly ask for. The episode opens with Dean and Rory, and Dean essentially tricking Rory into their first kiss in a sweet way, not in a call the cops kind of way.
Alright, guess what's in each hand? You get the soda.
Okay, the whole concept of a free soda is that it's free. You don't have to work for it.
Sorry, you gotta sing for your supper.
Or your soda.
Guess.
Okay, in this hand you have... Thank you.
And for whatever reason, mostly because Lorelai's yelling at the fridge the whole time.
Sound. It started last week, but it was lower and it only happened when we opened the door, and now it's higher and it's on all the time, so I think it's really growing in confidence. Okay, look, I've already told this to 3 other people, so could you just please tell me what is wrong with this fridge?
Rory chooses to not tell Lorelai about kissing Dean because she feels like it would be weird. But of course, thanks to, I want to say it was actually I was going to say Miss Patty, but I believe it was Mrs. Kim. Thanks to Mrs. Kim, Lane's mother, Rory's best friend, Lorelai hears about this kiss because it happened in the market. And like I said, it's a nosy town. Everybody knows everything about everybody's everything. And Lorelai was like, hey, why didn't you tell me? What's up with this? Lorelai and Rory, they are going to rent a movie. Notably, it is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and get snacks for their movie night. And of course, to get those snacks, they need to go to the local grocery store.
We're going in. Rory, it's fine.
It's too weird.
I'm gonna have to meet him eventually.
Okay, how about next year?
I'm going to be so cool in there, you will mistake me for Shaft.
There will be no interrogation.
I swear.
No kissing noises, no stories from my childhood, no referring to Chicago as Chi-Town, no James Dean jokes, no father with a shotgun stares, no Nancy Walker impressions.
Oh, come on.
That's where Lorelai meets Dean properly.
There he is.
Boy, he's tall. That must have been some backbender, that kiss.
Mom.
Make sure you warm up next time.
Okay, we are leaving now.
Oh, you girls having another movie night?
Yeah, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that's nice. Isn't that the one with Gene Hackman?
Gene Alder.
You're a Wonka fan?
Yeah.
Dean, this is my mom, Lorelai. Mom, this is Dean.
Nice to meet you, Dean.
Yeah, you too.
It feels like something my mom and I would have done when I was that, young.
So chill out, supermarket slut.
There's just such a cozy vibe to it because you can feel that it's crisp fall weather and, you know, it's already dark early, and I don't know. I just really like it, okay? When Lorelai and Rory leave something behind and Rory goes off to go grab the movie before the store closes, remember video stores? Lorelai ends up extending an invitation to Dean to come over and watch the movie with them.
What? Yeah, I told him what we were doing tonight, and he was totally into it. So, why are you looking at me like that?
You invited Dean? We haven't even been out on a date by ourselves yet. My first date with Dean is going to be with my mother. What is wrong with you?
I'm sorry. I thought you would be happy about this.
In what universe would I be happy? This isn't Amish country. Girls and boys usually date alone.
It's uncomfortable, it's cozy, and it's perfect. We start to see sort of the relationship between Lorelai and Emily sort of seep through into certain things. Emily has a fear that Rory's going to become Lorelai. I think that's both infuriating and unfounded. The reason for the season is that Rory and Dean went to a dance together.
This is not a drive-through. She's not fried chicken.
But I told him to honk and I'd meet him out there. We agreed.
I don't care what you told him. If he wants to take you out, he will walk up to this door and knock and say good evening and come inside for a moment like any civilized human being would know to do.
And they left after a while.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You will not push me again. Are you seriously trying to act tough? You're wearing a tie, for God's sake. Outside, now. I'm not fighting you. It'd be like fighting an accountant. I'll call you when I need my taxes done.
They were hanging out in Miss Patty's studio and they fell asleep.
Oh my goodness. It's Lorelai's girl. Patty, Rory Gilmore is here. What? She's over here, asleep with the bag boy from the market. What are we supposed to do?
Rory, honey, it's Miss Patty. Rory? Rory, what are you doing here?
Miss Patty?
Yes, have you been here all night?
And of course there's a ton of implications there, and because of Lorelai and the choices that Lorelai made, Emily also insisted even, that Rory was also making those choices.
And we know what happened.
No, we don't.
They were out all night.
I'm gonna make some coffee.
Lorelai Gilmore, I've watched you do a lot of stupid things in your life, and I have held my tongue.
You've what?
But I will not stand by and let you allow that girl to ruin her life.
Mom, back off.
She spent the night out with that boy, the one you let her run off to that dance with.
Mom, so help me God, I will not get into this with you.
She's doing the same thing you did.
No, she's not.
She's gonna get pregnant.
No, she's not.
She's gonna ruin everything just like you ruined everything.
No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not.
While it's understandable that that's already in her mind, I also think that that's super unfounded and unfair to Rory because she still doesn't really know Rory at this point. The other episode I really love is the Donna Reed episode. It has some interesting points on feminism, which I really appreciate, because the show really, while it does thrive on white feminism, as it were, it does have always a feminist gear in motion. Well, I think from a perspective of, from a very narrow lens of white privilege, Lorelai worked really hard to get where she was, on her own, raise her daughter by herself. I think there's a lot of really, really good feminist moments, especially like Paris. She has also got really good there's a lot of good feminist moments with her. And we'll get more into like the feminist sort of side of everything a little bit down the line. This episode introduces us to why Dean is insufferable at first.
You know, daughter, there's nothing more satisfying than washing windows. Oh no.
Why? Did I miss a spot?
No, I just had an impure thought about your father, Alex. Funny. I don't know why I had it. It isn't the second Saturday of the month.
Hey, I heard you had an impure thought about me.
I must now sublimate all my impure thoughts by going into the kitchen and making a endless string of perfect casseroles.
I don't know, it all seems kind of nice to me.
What does?
Well, families hanging together. I mean, a wife cooking dinner for her husband. And look, she seems really happy.
She's medicated.
And acting from a script.
Written by a man.
Well said, Sister Suffragette.
But what if she likes making donuts and dinner for her family and keeping things nice for them and... So she cooked a lot.
A lot? She made homemade donuts, chocolate cake, a lamb chop, mashed potato dinner, and enough stew to feed Cambodia all in one episode.
So what?
You really like that concept, don't you?
No, well, yeah, sort of.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a little over the top, but the general idea of a wife cooking dinner for her husband and family, that's nice. Why is that not nice?
It's not just that. It's the having to have the dinner on the table as soon as the husband gets home and having to look perfect to do housework and the whole concept that her one point in life is to serve somebody else.
Fine, yes, but maybe there are 2 points of view here.
I don't think so.
Well, you just feel that way because your mother feels that way.
Oh, what, so I have no opinions of my own?
I didn't mean that.
Well, if I have no opinions of my own, then I guess I'd be just the kind of girl you like.
His point to Rory is that...
Rory, my mom used to make dinner for my dad every day before she started working, and now she even does it on the weekends. So what does that say about her?
And Rory makes a fantastic point that...
It says that she has a choice and Donna Reed didn't.
You do realize that Donna Reed wasn't real, don't you?
Yes, I know she wasn't real, but she represented millions of women that were real and did have to dress like that and act like that and...
Please tell me how we got into an argument about the Donna Reed show?
I don't know.
This episode also introduces us to Christopher, who is Rory's dad.
So, dinner, thoughts?
Let's have some.
How about Chinese?
Sounds good.
Okay, I need to stop at the market and get some fruit.
Why?
I think I'm getting scurvy.
Really?
Yeah, well, that or a cold, but either way, I need some fruit. Pull me and bury me with that bike.
What is it, a Harley?
That is a 2000 Indian, 80 horsepower, 5-speed, close ratio Andrews transmission, and I want to get one.
No.
Why not?
You'd die.
Oh, that.
Hey.
Hi.
Nice shirt. Take it off.
Christopher.
Dad!
And we get to meet Rory's other grandparents, Strobe and Francine, who are generally terrible.
This whole evening is ridiculous. We're supposed to sit here like one big happy family and pretend that the damage that was done is over, gone? I don't care about how good a student you say that girl is.
Hey!
Our son was bound for Princeton. Every Hayden male attended Princeton, including myself, but it all stopped with Christopher. It's a humiliation we've had to live with every day, all because you seduced him into ruining his life. She had that baby, and she ended his future.
You recant that, Stroke. Spilling my drink. You owe my daughter an apology.
An apology? That is rich.
How dare you? How dare you?
Richard,
How dare you come into my house and insult my daughter?
Let go of me.
Whoa, whoa, what is going on here? Shame on you, Strobe. Shame on you for opening all of this up again.
Get your purse, Francine.
My daughter is very successful at what she does.
We're leaving.
You're not leaving. I'm kicking you out.
We see sort of the distant deadbeat dad element of Christopher and the uncomfortable dynamic between Richard and Lorelai.
Don't be a martyr, Lorelai. Don't be naive. Do you think I loved the boy who got my daughter pregnant? I wanted to kill him. I would have, too, with my bare hands. But there was a proper procedure to be followed in a situation like this.
Marriage.
Christopher was willing to follow the procedure we laid out. You weren't.
What about what I wanted? Dad, didn't that matter to you at all?
You really get to see the disappointment that Richard still holds for Lorelai and her choices, and sort of the sweet, loving dynamic between Rory and Emily.
None of this means anything, Rory.
Oh, I know.
Strobe is actually a good man. Very smart. He was one of the top lawyers in his field. Oh, let's face it. He's a big ass. Rory, I know you heard a lot of talk about various disappointments this evening. And I know you've heard a lot of talk about it in the past. But I want to make this very clear. You, young lady, your person and your existence have never ever been, not even for a second, included in that list. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
In this episode, Lorelai and Christopher sleep together. And then Christopher insists that they become a couple and get married. Though, as we've already begun to establish, that he's not quite ready for a family just yet.
I want to marry you.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Just think about it.
We're out of your mind. You are completely insane. You have flipped your lid. Charlie Manson is freaked out by you right now.
Come on, we're already a family.
Who? Who's
Who's a family?
Us, you, me, and Rory.
You don't even know what a family is.
It's people living together.
No, it's a big commitment. It's responsibility. It's hard work. It's coming home at the same time to the same place every day.
Okay, so what do you want? Financial statements? I can be a family man. I'm responsible now.
Lorelai and Christopher's dynamic is interesting because Christopher is Rory's dad. Lorelai always had the door to Rory open for him. You know, it's often seen as like the relationship that was meant to be, you know. But Christopher is a pathetic person and a really sad excuse for a father. And honestly, I feel like he was set up for failure by his parents. Very, very weak-minded in the early seasons. He was kind of a shitty dad. He was really inconsistent and expected Rory and Lorelai both to just wait on him forever till he got his shit together, basically. And I think it's telling that the first time we meet Christopher is the first time he's ever been to Stars Hollow. And Rory is 16. But at the core of it, I do sincerely believe that Chris is a good person who loves his daughter, but he just was incapable of getting his shit together enough to be a dad. Because of that, he treated Rory like an option, always. So later in the season, Rory and Dean have their 3-month anniversary. 3 months of Dean. Oh, Dean. On their 3-month anniversary, Dean takes Rory to this really fancy dinner and brings her to a junkyard where he's building her a car of her own so she no longer has to take the bus. And he drops a big fat I love you on her.
I love you. Rory,
Yeah.
did you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Well, say something. Yeah?
I love the car.
That's it?
No, I'm surprised. I didn't expect,
You don't love me.
No, I just have to think about it for a minute.
Think about what?
Well, saying I love you is a really difficult thing.
Well, I just did it.
And you did it really well.
So Dean breaks up with her. I told you Dean's the fucking worst. So later on, Lorelai hooks up with Max. They had broken up because they realized that their dynamic wasn't going to work after it got out at Rory's school that they were kissing. So obviously that made its rounds, and Max got in trouble for dating a student's parent. But then they started hooking up, and so Lorelai and Max hook up. Lane goes to a party with Rory, who's just trying to feel better after being broken up with by Haircut McGee, and she kisses Tristan at the same party where Lane met Henry. It's all in one episode. It's so much. But Henry's perfect for Lane because Lane's mother won't let her date someone who is not Korean or working to become a doctor eventually. And Henry was Korean, and they were perfect for each other. But Lane was afraid to tell her mom because she didn't want to ruin it, which I get.
I can't believe I just gave my number to a potential Korean doctor.
Rory becomes generally insufferable, not as a character as a whole, but just to everybody in her general vicinity, because she's so depressed about her breakup. Lorelai and Max secretly get back together officially, but they don't want to say anything to Rory because she's already on the edge, you know. But she finds out because Max can't keep his big fucking mouth shut. Max and Luke kind of get into it, fighting over Lorelai in, like...
Hello? I tried to be late.
Oh, and an utter failure at 1 minute past. Max Medina, this is Luke Danes. Luke owns the diner. He has the greatest coffee.
Oh, right. I saw you at the town meeting.
Yeah, I saw you too.
Nice to meet you.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So, we should be going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get going. I just left my toolbox from when I was here earlier fixing things. I do a lot of little things around here for Lorelai.
Yeah, you're very handy. So, Luke, we'll talk later.
Yes, we will.
Although probably not tonight. We won't be back until late.
No, I meant not tonight.
Oh. I misunderstood.
I meant tomorrow. So tomorrow.
Absolutely. We see each other most every day.
Well, sure. You've got the coffee.
And she needs the coffee. So I'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Same time as always.
I'd count on a little later.
Doesn't matter what time it is. I'll always be around.
And this leads to Lorelai and Max, like, really having it out. Like I said, at this point, their relationship felt kind of contrived to me, and like a relationship that wouldn't really work in the real world. Like, he's so passionate and controlling, and she is so controlling and independent. But to solve the argument, Max proposes, because that's what grown-ups do. And the season ends with the open-ended proposal, 1,000 yellow daisies, and Rory and Dean back together. So I have a bunch of other moments to about in season 2. Because it only gets worse with Dean. And that's pretty much a wrap on season 1. It's all downhill from here, baby. What are your favorite episodes of season 1? And if you've never seen it, why do you hate yourself so much? Let me know in the comments down below. Explain yourself. Thanks. Anyway, I don't know if the format will be the same in the coming episodes, because my brain doesn't format things very well, but we'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Gilmore Girls? Favorite character, least favorite character, most annoying character, and why is it always Kirk? That aside, my social media, my Patreon, channel memberships, merch, any relevant links, they're all in the description below. Like and subscribe. Stick around for the outtakes, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! It was cheesy, did you get it? Hey, just do it respectfully, please. Thank you. It sounds like a medical practice. I love Gilmore Girls so much. See? My body agrees. Calm the fuck down.
When a woman gives birth to a crack baby, you do not buy her a puppy.
What does that mean?